Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of Movie Burner News. I'm joined, as always, by John here, and we're going to delve right into this, John, because news that just hit the internet not that long ago. It's about Steven Spielberg is still unhappy with Netflix, John.
Yes, and I'm unhappy with Steven Spielberg. Look, we've discussed this many a time, Stephen. Obviously, the Netflix Cannes battle, this battle over the war over what is a proper film, what the purity of film, and should it be qualifying for an award ceremony, should it be qualifying for an award at a film festival like Cannes. I think it was the prestigious award. I can't recall what the hell it is off the top of my head, but the prestigious film award at Cannes get into hot bother with Netflix over this, and just disqualifying the Netflix films because they weren't allowed to release them in France and then immediately have them on their service. I think it's a 2-year time difference or something in France. It's a cultural thing, and here we are again. We've seen Steven Spielberg talk about this before. He's the disdain for Netflix and what they're doing, obviously withholding box office numbers, renting the film out to theatres so they can get qualified for a run at the awards. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks they have to be in a theatrical release just now. And they do this, but they get round it by renting the films to the theatres instead of actually giving them a share of the cuts, and they don't disclose how the films have performed in terms of box office numbers. So they don't like this, and they don't like the fact that Netflix are this big bullying corporation, streaming giant that are coming in and flexing their muscles, and it's destroying the purity of film, and it's essentially glorified TV films, and they shouldn't be contending at award ceremonies. This isn't Steven's general idea on things, so he's going to petition to the Academy.
I don't think he's the only one, John, to be honest with you. I think he's certainly the big player in you know, the views that are going to be going to I think it's the board, isn't it?
Yeah, the Guild, I think it is, the Academy
Board
Guild.
Of Governors. I think they're meeting in April, John. And you're right, I think I don't see Netflix as this big bully company. They're a company that's still learning in their distribution and what's the best way forward for them. Disney are going to find this very soon as well, how they're going to handle this. It's a learning curve for everyone. As we know, Netflix has been running for the best part of 7, 8, 9 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But it's only over the last few years that they're really at the forefront with their production of films, their original content, that is. And the old-fashioned filmmakers are now taking notice of this. As you said, we've talked about this in the audio shows maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, John, where there is going to be compromises, and I think eventually there's going to be some common ground between the old way of distribution and the new way. It's going to happen. That I've got no doubt about. And in regards to this statement, I think it was from an ambulance spokesperson on behalf of Steven Spielberg. I got to disagree with Steven Spielberg here. I've been a fan of his for over 35 years now, 40 years now, but I think the times are a changing. Like the big man said back in the 60s, Bob Dylan.
Dylan,
and that's just the way it's going to be. We'll be getting into
anybody that doesn't get.
We will be getting into another discussion on the next topic in a little moment, John, because this will explain it a little bit better. That Netflix, and this will also prove that they're not the big bullies that they're being portrayed to here. But I think this has got a lot to do with the release of Roma and how well that did at the Academy Awards last week to some of the more traditional films in the sense of distribution to selected theatres. Netflix eventually will begin down that road. We'll talk about that in a moment, John, on what they're going to be doing with their next big original movie. But I totally disagree with Steven Spielberg and all these other directors. The purpose of any award show, not just the Academy Awards, is for it's an opportunity for filmmakers to celebrate their work. That's basically it. Doesn't matter how well it's received, I mean, in regards financially, how many theatres it's distributed to. It's the bottom line is the way that film is made, the way the story's told, and the way the director really directs the film, and that's the way it is. It's art at the end of the day. It doesn't matter where it comes from. I think there's a slight snobbishness here from Spielberg as well. Yeah, and I think that guys like Spielberg, who came out in the early 70s, the late 60s to early 70s, with the likes of Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas's, Martin Scorsese's one of them as well. There's a whole number of them, Brian De Palma as well.
Yeah.
They were all in this situation at once where they were up and coming filmmakers, and the studios have changed since then. I think it was George Lucas that said that all the old studios that were owned by family members, etc., all changed. I think round about the turn of the 70s, and it was big corporations that were taking over studios, and the studios have never been the same since. But they had that opportunity, that window back in the early 70s. This is the new window, and it's called Netflix or whatever streaming service it may be. And you'll probably be better to rhyme off some of the directors that have used the streaming service to their advantage, John, and rightly so. Yeah,
well, look, Stephen, I did say it just reeks of pomposity from Steven Spielberg, and it reeks of sour grapes. Obviously, his film Ready Player One was up for an award. It was one single award at the Academy Awards this year. Visuals, and it didn't win.
No.
So he's obviously butthurt over this. The fact that Alfonso Cuarón has received many wins, many awards, nominations through all of the different award shows in the award season, not just the Oscars, but at the BAFTAs and at the SAG Awards and just a whole host of different awards. So he's butthurt, first and foremost, for me, that this great film crafted by Alfonso Cuarón through Netflix has received so much plaudits, so much acclaim. But as you did say, Stephen, there's been numerous directors been involved with this. The Coen brothers with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Paul Greengrass with July 22. Sigak's been involved in Bloody Sunday. Flight 99, I can't, United 99 or something, I think, 93. And also the September 11th one where the brave crew and the passengers brought down the plane instead of allowing the hijackers to take it into another building. So that was a fantastically crafted film. So people of this nature and of this calibre are starting to become involved with streaming networks and services because they realise the opportunity to get in and craft a film which otherwise the traditional studios wouldn't allow them to do because they're worried about bottom lines and box office numbers and is it going to be a critical success, is it going to make us money back. Netflix don't really care about that to an extent. They've got 80 odd million, 86 million subscribers, so they know that it's going to get to an audience no matter what, and they can allow them creative freedom to go out and do whatever the hell they want, not just respected and well-known directors, but anybody coming up. They'll allow them an opportunity within reason to get on board, create a film and have the freedom to create what the hell they want. We've seen the likes of Nicolas Cage discuss it as well, how he likes going to these streaming services, Netflix in particular, because it allows him to create the type of film he wants to create without the burden of having these studios breathing down his neck. And I think it's a combination of pomposity, just butthurt directors not happy that these new wave of directors, these new wave of studios or streaming giants are coming in and really starting to get a stranglehold in the movie business. And it's just they're hiding behind this purity of film for me, just the experience of going to a theatre. I believe it was Dennis Yang from Collider put a great tweet on this, saying that a large proportion of the people involved in voting throughout the Academy in the award season for the Oscars don't even go to the theatres to watch these films anyway. They don't go and watch the best film, the best picture films and nominees. They get sent screeners and it's DVD quality, crappy quality DVD screeners that they watch at home. So these people are just hypocritical gits. They don't watch the films in the theatres themselves. So I disagree completely with Stephen, I really do. I was sitting on the fence initially on this argument, but the more it goes on and the more we're seeing the likes of Spielberg come out and really moan and whine away and run. It's almost like running to the teacher. The big bully, he's doing this, he's doing that. Just get a grip. Create a film which is suitable and it's going to get enough plaudits to earn it a Best Picture nominee or whatever. You've got the ability to do it, Stephen. Stop whining and allow guys like Alfonso Cuarón their time in the sunlight because they deserve it. Because it was a fantastic film.
I think Stephen has to maybe have a Netflix and chill night.
But listen, would they say it to the likes of Martin Scorsese, Stephen? Would they?
I don't know,
which
but
plays into the next topic.
It does, John, and this is where the compromise may be in regards to Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, which is going to be distributed to a large number of theatres on its release, John. I don't really want to read word for word of the article, but the gist of it is that, you know, that Scorsese wants a wide theatrical release for his $125 million budgeted Jimmy Hoffa flick, and it looks like it's going to have a large theatrical release, a very normal distribution to a film that has been made by Netflix, with the major chains like AMC, Regal. I think those are the US chains, John. Over here it will be like Odeon and Cineworld, etc. View, yeah, it's a great chain of cinemas over here as well.
Very comfortable seats.
I'm actually considering maybe changing my subscription, John.
Yeah, they don't do the View, don't do them. Sadly,
do they not?
I would
yeah, because they're fantastic.
Yeah.
But the gist of the article is that that Martin Scorsese wants to try and go down a more traditional route of releasing the film in theatres for a number of weeks before it hits Netflix. This is what I was talking about in the previous article, when we were talking about Cannes, etc. That there will be a compromise somewhere from the old-fashioned views, the old-fashioned filmmakers and what they want, and with the new services and the new technology that's coming in, and try to find that middle ground where the both parties can agree on something. I think this might be it. That I think eventually, I think we're getting very spoilt just now with Netflix original content hitting the streaming service right away. Premiere on there, not getting anywhere near a theatre. I think this is the correct way of doing it, and I think I've been a Netflix subscriber since 2013, John. I don't mind this because it gives me the opportunity to either go to the cinema to watch that release, or I'll just have to wait a few weeks and I'll see it anyway. Yeah,
look, Stephen, I don't care how people consume films these days, it's not really my concern. I still enjoy going to a theatre and seeing big blockbuster films, bigger films releases.
Yeah.
That communal experience is something that you get out of it, going and being with like-minded people and enjoying it and consuming it. There's nothing to beat going to a theatre and seeing it on a big screen, but likewise I can completely understand people want to consume it on a smaller screen, on a TV in their house, and I think you should be given the choice and the freedom to do whatever the hell you want, consume it whichever way that you feel you want to consume the film. This is where you're going to see this blend of traditionalists, the purity, film purity brigade I'm going to call them, and also the Netflix, the new wave of film goers and makers and stuff like that, how you're going to see them blending together. John, there may be a day, Stephen, where we'll have a film in its theatrical release in the cinema, but also on a streaming service at the same time, and it's giving people the choice. They may want to go and watch it in the cinema or in the house. Do
you think, given the opportunity, your average film goer, if they were given the chance, you can either go to trouble or driving all the way to your theatre to see this film, or I've got it here in hand, do you want to just watch it in the house?
Well, I mean, I'd still rather go and see it in the theatre. It's depending on the film, Stephen. It really depends on which film it is, and just also the nature of the release. If it's a Star Wars film or whatever, if it's a big blockbuster release, or if it's something that I feel I'd get a better experience out of going to the theatre to see it, then I'd do that. But if it's a lesser known film,
but this level of distribution, John, gives that person the choice then, because they either see it in the theatre at the beginning of the month, or they wait to the middle of the month and they get to see it in the home anyway. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. And with The Irishman itself, I mean, this is again showing you that Netflix is willing to compromise. They're willing to release it in a wider spread release for a longer period of time, to compromise to the traditionalists who want to see this film, or these films from these streaming services, going down the more traditional route and being in a cinema for a longer period of time. So this is them kind of almost, I don't want to say backing down, because I don't think Netflix would back down to them. We've seen this before, the likes of, I can't recall his name, the main man at Netflix. There's a couple. There's a guy in charge of content. I think it's Ted Sarandos is in charge of the content, and then you've got the other guy who does, I don't know, he's the main man itself.
They've brought in a few people
but kind of a backing down to traditionalists anyway.
But listen, I think it's the best. I think it's the best compromise they can come up with at the moment. Whether or not that's going to change when Steven Spielberg speaks to this board next month, but I don't know if you've got anything other to add, John?
No, not much more, Stephen. Just to say that I'm glad that The Irishman's going to get a wider spread release, because this is something Netflix have been doing anyway with the likes of Roma. I think they've done it with July 22 as well. So it's great to see that they are kind of trying to compromise with these traditionalists, although I don't think the traditionalists are doing quite enough to get on board and support this new wave of filmmaking.
It appears that they want it all their own way.
Yeah, they want it all their own way, but sadly that's not going to happen.
Our next topic, John. This is something that came up on Digital Spy the other day. It's Michael J. Fox. He's opened up about his recent health problems amid Parkinson's battle, and I was speaking to, I think it was the New York Times, in regards to he underwent spinal surgery at the end of last year. No, I didn't know. To be fair, John, I've not really heard much about the actor for a little while now. There was a celebration, I think, a few years ago. I think it might have been the 30th release of Back to the Future. So it would have been 2015, where himself, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, etc., were on various chat shows. Jimmy Kimmel, the likes of that. And I think that was the last time probably I saw him, in the mainstream media. This is basically, it was really just talking about this reoccurring problem that he had with his spinal cord, where if he didn't deal with it, basically it was going to diminish the feeling in his legs.
Partially paralysed in his legs,
which is, it's always sad to read these things. I've got a lot of time for Michael J. Fox. I grew up with his films, even Teen Wolf, which I reviewed last year. But he'll always be, Marty McFly in my eye, and what a character, and what life he brought to that character as well, considering that he came in very late in the day to replace another actor, and he nailed it, knocked the ball out of the park. I've read his autobiography as well, John. I don't know if you have. Lucky Man.
I haven't. Sadly not. I would
fantastic.
Like you to read it.
I gave Kevin it, a fellow movie burner, a few years ago. So if you've got it, Kevin, John wants it. It's a fantastic book. I think there was actually a follow-up to it. I think there was maybe additional chapters added to it for another edition of it a few years ago, which I never picked up. But I thoroughly enjoyed the book. Michael J. Fox has always dealt with this disease with great humour. Which I think is a very hard thing to do for anybody in those circumstances. But the title of the book kind of suggests where he's going with his attitude towards the disease. He has always felt that he's been a very lucky and fortunate person in an unfortunate situation. Because there is people out there, more working class people,
that don't have the fame or the fortune, and they have to also deal with it in the how it impacts upon their life.
And he set up the foundation as well, the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's, which went from strength to strength to allow more research into the disease, etc., John. But reading this, it saddens me every time I read one of my heroes, and he certainly was one of them growing up. Marty McFly, I idolised, always wanted that body warmer that he wore, the life preserver. I always wanted that. Those Nikes as well. I'm not a big fan of Nike, but I loved them on him. And just
I was looking at that hat, Stephen. They've done
the future one.
I'm going to buy it. That's happening.
I wouldn't wear it outside though.
Oh, I would.
Maybe for the show.
I don't give a shit.
But he's always came across as a likeable guy, very funny guy. I've loved the stuff that he's Frighteners. Do you ever see that film? That was a fantastic film. I think it's Peter Jackson that did that film. He played a great character in that as well.
I might have seen
he's done a lot of voice work as well. Stuart Little, I think he did Stuart Little as well. And some of his TV work as well is absolutely timeless, from Spin City back to Family Ties as well. He's always came across as a very very sharp-witted person, very good-natured person as well, and not afraid to get his hands dirty in regards to the likes of the scheduling of Back to the Future as well, where I think he was working round the clock on that and Family Ties at the same time. Yeah,
Stephen, I've not got much more to add. I thoroughly share and echo all the sentiments you have obviously shared on the great man and obviously his battle with Parkinson's and this fresh spinal issue. It's a real shame to see the guy still having to battle with a whole host of health conditions over and above the Parkinson's. But as you did say, it's openly admitted that he was terrified that when it got diagnosed in '91, but he learned to live with it, as you have to do, and he's really approached it with great comedy over the years. He's approached the disease, and we've seen that with Billy Connolly as well recently. He got diagnosed with Parkinson, I think about 10 years ago, and he's still going strong, and he's approaching it with comedy. It's definitely the way to do it. And also he recognises he's in a, even though he's unfortunate in many ways, he's very fortunate to have achieved fame and fortune, and obviously it allows him a better standard and quality of life than some people who perhaps are dealing with the disease. So, but look, as you did say, it's just sad to see the guy having to deal with all of these issues, fresh health issues, and it's a real shame because he's a fantastic guy on and off the screen, done a lot for charity, as you did say. And obviously film as well. I recall him in Stuart Little voice, and Stuart Little, it was one of the first brushes I had with him, that alongside Back to the Future. Just a great guy, and it's a real shame to see that he's battling all these conditions, but I hope he lives a long and merry life, and he's coming on leaps and bounds, and he's stronger after this surgery, because I'd like to see the guy continuing acting. I'd like to see perhaps reuniting with Christopher Lloyd, although not in a Back to the Future film.
No, well they did the
advert.
They did the advert, but they also reunited, I think, in a Spin City. I think it was a very brief scene where they were passing the corridor. It was very funny. It was a lot of Back to the Future references as well. But yeah, you're right, John. I think I hope to see him back on there.
He looks fantastic for his age. He's barely aged, man. Jesus Christ, he's aged better than Christopher Lloyd. He looks like Doc now.
He looks like Doc Brown.
Looks like Doc, yeah.
But listen, John, we'll move on to a little brief article now that came in from Variety.com in regards to Sylvester Stallone's Rambo's Last Blood. Didn't know it was going to be called that. Dated for a September release. This will be the 5th instalment of the Rambo franchise after Rambo Last Blood. Kicked off with First Blood 37 years ago. Incredible. It does say in the article that he was 36 was it? 36 when the first film premiered, and he will be 73 at Last Blood's release. The title does suggest to me, certainly is, John, he has doubled in age. The title does suggest to me this will be his last outing as John Rambo. Yeah,
and that would be really sad, Stephen, because it's just you talk about heroes, that guy is just an action hero, and just an all-round acting hero, man. He's been in some brilliant films, some absolutely terrible films as well, though. But what a role model this guy is for anybody. Just his perseverance, his determination, keeping himself fit into his 70s. He's just a fantastic guy on and off the screen. Although he's looking a little bit melted now, but we'll not go there, Stephen. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. His physique.
Like
he's in much shape.
Looks like his mum.
He does. He doesn't look as bad as his mum. Lord no, she was terrifying. Or is terrifying. I don't know if she's still alive, Stephen, but he's in fantastic shape, the guy. Better shape than me. I'm really excited for this film, Stephen. I cannot wait to see it. I thought the last Rambo was really good.
A lot of people,
some criticism, but I thought it was brutal. A lot of people
criticised it, but I thought it was as you say, John, it was very brutal, very violent as well, which it should be for that type of film. I liked the last one. I thought the first one was fantastic, First Blood. I loved that film. It was one of my dad's favourite films on its release as well. The second one was okay. It was a little bit more character. How can I say it? It was more of a caricature of the character in that. But that's probably natural for any character. It's the same with the Rocky series as well. It reaches a sort of point where he's kind of impersonating the character rather than playing the character. Certainly wasn't the case of Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. Rambo 4, the last one that came out, Rambo, I think it's called, or John Rambo, I can't remember.
Just laughing at one of these comments here, Steve.
Title, but I'm looking forward to it as well, John. I think if it's going to just round up the character, it's going to be very interesting to see him taking on the cartel as well.
In his wheelchair, as a comment says, with a machine gun in his wheelchair. He's not in a wheelchair. This guy's fitter than most people in their 20s, I have to tell you. But look, I think the September release date is a wise one. They're kind of dodging that summer period, the blockbusters. There's going to be a whole host. Is this year? It's coming out September this year?
Yeah, I think so,
September this year, so that's coming up in this very quickly.
Close,
But you've got the likes of Endgame and stuff like that, Stephen, coming out, a whole host of big blockbuster releases. So they're doing the right thing. They're wisely putting it in between episode 9 and the big blockbuster releases in the summer, so it's going to slot right in there, and I think this film will do very well at the box office if it's anything like the previous one, because the concept's very cool. It's going to get all of the Make America Great Again guys out in force to watch it as well, with them getting into Mexico and showing those slimy Mexicans how to do it, you know, telling those bad guys in the south how to do it, man. He's getting in and taking on the cartels and slapping them down a few notches, so that'll keep the Trump supporters happy, and it'll keep me happy because I love John Rambo, man, so I'm happy either way.
Just moving on now, John, to our final topic, a very brief topic as well. This is Josh Brolin and Peter Dinklage are brothers in new comedy from Tropic Thunder writer. This coming from slashfilm.com, and it heads quite well, this article, because the minute I read this headline, it took me back to when it said, it does say, remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito played brothers in the 1988 comedy Twins? I certainly did. I thought it was a very funny concept, and I think it's going to be very similar in this film as well. I think it's just simply called Brothers, and it's going to have Brolin and Dinklage playing a pair of unlikely siblings. It does actually highlight Josh Brolin, although he's not famous famous for his comedy characters.
No.
He does play some comedy villains in comedy films, and that's where the humour comes from. His
an unwitting comedy duo.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
I don't know how you would call that, Stephen. An unwitting comedy partner, as we've seen in Men in Black 3.
Yeah.
When he was unwillingly thrust into the role of partner.
Yeah, that's right.
In a sense, alongside the mismatch and buddy sort of effort alongside Will Smith, and that was also littered with comedy, comedic moments, and he played the more serious, uptight figure in that very well. So I think you may see this perhaps being the same here, although perhaps maybe it's Peter Dinklage who's playing the more serious. I don't know what the story's going to be about, so I'm
it's a very brief article,
It's very much speculation here, Stephen, but I get the sense it could be a kind of a mismatched buddy effort, and with these brothers perhaps having very distinct and different personalities and kind of a fighting up, thinking off each other.
Ethan Cohen's
Ethan Cohen, not
he's he's the writer of this, famed for Tropic Thunder, but he's
Tropic
also famous for writing and directing Holmes and Watson, which was dubbed the worst film of 2018. I don't know how.
We'll not fixate on that.
I've not seen the film, John, so I can't. So, but
and he done Men in Black 3.
I hope it is more Tropic Thunder than it is Holmes and Watson.
As I say, I get a little bit excited there, Stephen. He worked with Josh Brolin in Men in Black 3, so this is a guy who's worked with Josh before, and he's good at doing comedy, out with Sherlock Holmes and Watson, that is. Even it didn't get hard, so I'd seen that film. That was the one where they get hard.
That was,
and I think it was Will Ferrell get put into jail.
It was
intriguing. It was kind of a funny, not amazingly funny, but it was kind of a funny. My wife is retarded. I don't think you could put a film out like that now. 2007. My wife is retarded. You can't say that now. No. But look, I digress. Tropic Thunder, brilliant film, hilarious film. What a performance from Robert Downey Jr. in that film. Blacked up, you couldn't do that now either. But I do recall seeing what's his name, Jamie Foxx, talking about that and how I think he was involved in it somehow, maybe producing it or something. And he says he really enjoyed that performance. He personally phoned up Robert Downey Jr. to come in and do that role. So I'm really excited to see what the hell's going to happen here, Stephen. I love Peter Dinklage. He's a great little actor. I think he's just capable of comedy, capable of drama. He's just, I think he'll perfectly face off with Josh Brolin here.
He's a great little actor.
He's a great, not literally. I mean, he's a great little. I say that anyway. He's a great little actor. But Josh Brolin's a great little actor as well. He's not a tall chap either. He's only 5'9.5". So look, those two will face off perfectly. I'm sure they'll amalgamate together beautifully, and we'll get something special.
I hope so, John. And as I said, the article's very brief, but listen, I'm pretty sure we'll hear more about it as the months roll merrily forward. But listen, we'd just like to thank you once again for joining us this week on Movie Burner News, and we will be back again tomorrow with the blog rundown. If you're liking this video, then why not check out our other content on our channel? Every Tuesday we break down the top 10 films in the UK on Box Office Chat. Every Wednesday we discuss the latest entertainment news on Movie Burner News. Every Thursday we chat about the latest movie reviews from our writing team on the blog rundown, and we wrap up the week and get ready for the weekend with the Force Friday show, where we discuss the latest news in the world of Star Wars. If you're liking the content we are putting out, then do subscribe to our channel by hitting that subscribe button and click the bell to receive alerts.